A Lloydminster nurse has created a way to bring warmth to residents this winter season. RIB St. John has more.
I'm happy to be joined with Trish Domes, who has come up with a unique way to bring warmth this winter through a project she started called Blanket Buddies. Thank you so much for joining me today, Trish.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, what is Blanket Buddies and where did the idea for this project come from?
So the Blanket Buddies project, I am going to be collecting new blankets for the residents of the Dr. Cook, the Lloydminster Continuing Care, and the Jubilee Home. So it all began with a vision of wanting to create love, connection, and joy in the community. And so that's where it all began.
That sounds incredible. Now, how can people get involved with this project?
Yeah, so we're collecting new blankets and we have a few drop-off locations throughout the city. The drop-off locations are located at the Dr. Cook, the Jubilee Home, and at Assure Occupational Testing. Or if they like, they can just give me a call and I can come pick them up as well.
Awesome. Why was this so important for you to start and, to get the word out to other people that you're doing this and the specific places that you're donating to?
Yeah, so I'm a nurse. I've been a nurse for quite a few years, and it was just my part of wanting to spread kindness and generosity throughout the community. And I just want the residents there to know that the Lloydminster City thinks about them and we care about them. We haven't forgot about them. And it's just a little something to make them feel special this holiday season.
I know you mentioned new blankets, but is there a way for people to donate blankets that they already have that are in good condition or even make some of their own?
As long as they're new, that's what we're looking for. So yeah, they could be twin size, which is the size of their beds, or also lap blankets or throw blankets work well too.
Wonderful. Now, when are the blankets going to be donated? Is there a specific date that you have set for when people should be bringing their blankets for when you guys are going to bring them to the places that you're donating to?
So we have a deadline of December the 10th, and that way that just gives us a little time to organize them all and then give them back to the 3 facilities.
Lastly, is this something that will be continued annually? What is your goal for this project moving forward?
Well, nothing specific as of right now. We originally was going to start with just 1 facility, and through some encouragement, it quickly expanded to 3. So you never know what next year will bring.
Well, this project sounds absolutely fantastic. And thank you so much for joining me today. And I wish you the best of luck with this project moving forward. I'm sure that this will make a lot of residents happy, especially now that we've officially entered the winter season and it does get super cold here in Lloyd. So I'm sure that this will just bring a smile to their faces and obviously bring them some warmth as well. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now let's take a look into the archives in this week's edition of Retrospect. We start our look back at this week in retrospect in 1992. Taking a look at a partnership at Lakeland College training students to work on the rigs.
That's the only one you got to worry about. See, they're number 3 and 4.
The Petroleum Industry Training Service out of Nisku has joined forces with Lakeland College in Lloydminster to provide pre-employment training for work on service rigs. With a mix of classroom theory and on-hand training, the course can educate anyone willing to be a roughneck.
This is an ideal situation where we can stop the whole rig if one guy's having trouble. We can demonstrate, show them the right way of doing it. We're in the real world. We can't stop the rig. We got to get so much production done in a day. Here, we can stop. Everybody can watch. We can try over again until he gets it right.
It's 15 days of difficult, labor-intensive training, and it's insight into an industry that requires a lot of hands-on experience to make the grade.
The students are taught everything from running power tongs to tripping rods and rigging up. Safety also plays a major role. Courses are provided on H2S, first aid, CPR, and WMIS. The future rig hands are taking to the program quickly.
Chance to learn trade. There isn't much work out there, and it seems that there's a lot of work in this field right now.
I think it's a real good course for anybody that's interested and, wants to get into the oil field. They definitely should, think of taking it up, because I think it's a good course.
Yeah, I think I want to learn lots here. That's what I'm after. That's what the $100 is for.
And the students who complete the 15-day course successfully get their $100 entry fee back.
There's a couple guys here that have jobs waiting for them once they graduate out of the course, and what we try and do is we talk to the contractors around this area, and we'll see if they can, if they need any hands. Well, there's a whole bunch of people here that'll be trained and ready for it.
Near Blackfoot, Michael Higgins, NewsHour.
While Regina prepares to host the 109th Grey Cup this Sunday, we turn back the clock to 1997, when Rider Nation journeyed through Lloyd on their way to the 85th Grey Cup in Edmonton.
Highway 16's pretty quiet for today, but wait until Grey Cup Sunday draws a little closer. Busloads of football fans are expected to use the border city as a pit stop.
Thousands of people are going to be coming through Lloydminster this weekend, stopping for gas, getting some pop, some snacks, some chips, on their way to Edmonton for the Grey Cup. The thing is Lloydminster ready for them?
This 24-hour restaurant is beefing up its services.
We're upping our staff, so we'll have more staff available to help the customers that come in. We're preparing daily specials and gearing up for a busy weekend.
This Esso station expects Rough Rider fans to be rushing through the doors. They have pins and coffee mugs for sale. All the Rough Rider hats are sold out, but they do have a number of Eskimo ones.
Well, we're going to be having our Quick Lube open till 8 p.m. for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and also on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for the rush, as well as we're going to be having a little extra staff for the front for the traffic flow on the gasoline sales.
And while we were at the gas station, we ran into a CFL fanatic. Meet Henry Ewan. He's driving all the way from Winnipeg to the big game.
We're just passing through Lloyd and on the way to Edmonton for the Grey Cup festivities and stuff for a couple of the necessities, gas and stuff, and carry on.
And Henry showed us his pride and joy, an old cowboy hat covered in Grey Cup pins from all the games he's been to, plus a few other fond memories. So for now, it's off to Edmonton for Henry and his brother-in-law. They stopped in the border city for some goodies and a car wash. And Henry says after the game's all done, he'll be taking the same route back home, stopping once again in Lloyd, contributing to the economy. For NewsHour, I'm Richard Ozero.
And this has been our look back at this week in retrospect. And now it's time for us to check in with Shelby Clark for a look at weather.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jace Mackey. Yes, now taking a first look at your weather forecast here in the border city. Look at that beautiful temperature. We're already starting off pretty nice for the week. We are just seeing -3 right now at the moment here in the border city with a mixture of some sun and cloud. Definitely saw a much sunnier day today than what we have been seeing a little bit last week. But over the weekend, we saw some quite beautiful conditions here in the border city as well. We are kind of expected to possibly see a light chance of some flurries later on, but we will get into that later tonight. But for today and starting off on the week, I think we are seeing a quite very nice day. We are cooling down just a little bit as we get more into the evening times, but of course, you know, it's winter, so what can you expect? We are seeing some beautiful temperatures ahead for this week, and we'll get a bit more into that as well. Now looking at temperatures across the region for Alberta and Saskatchewan. On the Alberta side, most spots match with us here in the border city, seeing that -3 right now at the moment. Most others right now with Vegreville, St. Paul, and Bonneville at -1. Edmonton is beating on everybody at +3 right now, so Edmonton is just at 3 degrees, and we're also seeing that -1 up in Cold Lake and just that 1 mark in Lac La Biche. So looking at some beautiful conditions over on our Alberta side for sure. Going over to our Saskatchewan side, they are looking at the same conditions as what we are seeing on our Alberta side. Some spots slightly cooler, but only by a couple degrees. Most spots are just seeing that minus mark, but still at that single digit. Most are at that -3, -4 area right now. Seeing that -1 up in Pearson. When you go a bit lower, we are seeing Maidstone with the coolest condition there with -7, but still seeing under -10, so I'd say we are looking pretty happy for today. for North Battleford, they will be going down to a low of -13 for their evening low, so they will be dropping quite a bit from what they are sitting at, but better than seeing those -30s almost with that wind chill. So looking quite nice for tonight for North Battleford. And into tomorrow, North Battleford is expecting -8 for their daytime high, seeing a mixture of some sun and clouds and seeing around a 25% chance of some flurries. So looking at another nice day for tomorrow. Might be a little bit gloomier than compared what they are seeing today, but at least they are just seeing -8. Switching over for tonight into Cold Lake, low -17, so cooling down quite a bit, right under that -20 mark. Seeing some more cloudier conditions for sure tonight. Then into tomorrow, -2, so even seeing a much sunnier day tomorrow for Cold Lake. So expecting a beautiful day tomorrow and even seeing some sun in the afternoon. And now looking at tonight, as I was saying, we will go now to low -13. We'll be seeing some slight cloudy skies throughout the evening as well. Seeing a pretty low chance of some flurries, but maybe seeing it throughout the night for us. And then tomorrow, get ready. We will be looking at -3, so another beautiful day. And throughout the night into the morning, we will be seeing a 25% chance of some flurries. So just be prepared in case we get, some light snowfall. And now ending off with looking at one of your beautiful weather photo submissions. Everyone can still go to our Facebook page and submit if they'd like to. This one is from Michelle. Absolutely gorgeous shot of Bud Miller Park there. I absolutely loved it. Love that people can get some nice photos out here in the winter season. And that's all I have for now. We'll have more coming up after the break.
As we turn things over to sports, the Lloydminster U18 Bobcats are right back to practice after having a 2-game series this past weekend. The Bobcats lost to the Leduc Oil Kings yesterday in a 4-3 decision. The Orange and Black are now tied for second place in their division with 17 points. They'll take on the Calgary Buffaloes this Saturday, who have yet to lose in regulation. However, head coach Ryan Blaka says he's focused right now on his group.
I'm more worried about our group. I got to watch that we're playing our game, following our structure, doing the things that we need to do to be successful first. Maybe as the season goes on, we'll start paying attention more to what the other teams are doing. But right now, we need to worry what we're doing first. So as long as we do what we need to do, I think we'll be successful no matter what the scoreboard says today.
Puck drop for the game against the Buffaloes will take place at 6:30 local time. As we start another week, it's time for us to take a look at our Pet of the Day photo submissions. You can always head over to our Facebook page and post a picture of your pet and their name to the pinned post for a chance to win a Pet Pad gift card.
We want to see your pets. Send photos of your pet and their name to our Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram to have them featured on Pet of the Day. Your name will be entered into a weekly draw for a gift certificate from the Pet Pad.
Joining us today for Primetime Local News is Lewis Smith with the Canada Safety Council. Once again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, Lewis.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Shelby. Thanks for having me.
Of course, really glad to be able to have you on here once again, Lewis, because we did speak last week on Senior Safety Week for November. And there's a couple more topics we have to talk about for November because it is also National Community Safety and Crime Prevention Month. So really glad to be able to have you on here once again. So let's kind of start off with explaining to people what exactly this month is all about and why it represents community safety and crime prevention.
Well, the big factor for us in this month-long campaign is that at its core, a community is a group of people working together for a common goal. In the context of community safety and crime prevention, it stands to reason then that our message often focuses on neighborhoods and on what we can do both as individuals and as collectives to make sure that our neighborhoods are that much safer or that much friendlier and are just generally a positive place to be where we don't need to worry so much about our personal well-being or the well-being of our community.
Now, what exactly is the council really wanting to focus on for this month and they want to remind Canadians?
Our big message during this year's campaign is a pretty simple one. There's a lot more that unites us than divides us. We live in a really interesting time in that there are so many issues that put wedges between us, between friendships, between families, between any number of factors that focus more on the division than on bringing us together. And there are definitely some issues that are, worth digging our heels in on. But in the context of Community Safety and Crime Prevention Month, we're trying to focus on one common goal that everybody in a neighborhood should have a vested interest in, and that's making sure that the community is safe, that the community is free of any criminal activity, and that it's a community where you can grow as a person and as a community to make the whole area a safer place. It starts with one individual, grows to a larger group, and before long, it's an attitude that permeates the culture. That's what we're going for here.
And I don't know if there happens to be a difference, but for this month in November compared to previous years, has the council noticed a change in the statistics when it comes to, crime in the area and in communities?
It's always difficult to quantify this type of community activity. Obviously, we can point to crime levels being a little bit on the rise in certain areas and a little bit lower in certain other ones. But our message this year and in this campaign in particular focuses a little less on the statistical aspect of things and a little bit more on the human nature aspect of things. It's a lot easier to talk about community safety in a qualitative way than a quantitative one.
And how would you say that residents can participate well for this month by being better in their community and, just helping spread the information when it comes to National Community Safety and Crime Prevention Month out there, like online, and just kind of helping out with this?
So focusing in on individual actions feels a little counterproductive, but it's worth pointing out that in communities where the culture is sort of, you're aware of your neighbors, but you're not really getting to know them. You're not interested in finding out more. It's a live and let live kind of situation. The actions of one individual to sort of build that community can go a long way. So our recommendations for National Community Safety and Crime Prevention Month are: one, be friendly with your neighbors, get to know their loose habits. We're not asking folks to get deeply involved into every aspect of their neighbors' lives. There is definitely a line that we need to walk here. But the important thing is that we know a little bit about them. We know their habits. We know when they're coming and going, because that enables us to notice when something is off, when maybe they're not home, but there's a car in their driveway. That raises red flags and alarms in our minds. Likewise, we also recommend installing a few safety features in your community. So that can be anything from safety or security systems in your house that can act as a visible deterrent for anybody wanting to break in or commit theft. Floodlights in the community, because as a general rule, crime doesn't tend to thrive when there's a bright spotlight shone on it. Third, we recommend any criminal activity whatsoever be reported. It's a lot easier for criminal activity to gain a foothold in a community when one-off instances are ignored or you turn a blind eye to them. That's how long-term problems arise. So we certainly recommend folks report crimes, even if they don't necessarily want to put their name to it. They can report it anonymously to Crime Stoppers at CanadianCrimeStoppers.org. And lastly, our best tip here would be to consider introducing a neighborhood watch in your community. Again, it focuses very heavily on the concept of the community working together as a group to make the place safer. But at its core, a community watch involves just keeping an eye out for things that may look amiss, for things that are changed from the day-to-day routine. And when the community is actively informing everybody else around, it ensures that the best information available is made available to as wide a group as possible. So if something does go wrong, if something does seem different from how it usually is, well, it won't be met with a resounding "who cares." Folks will know, and they'll be a bit more interested in finding out why that's the case.
Perfect, Lewis. Well, it's always really nice speaking with you, and I'm glad we're able to speak again and just be able to help get the word out, not only on National Senior Safety Week, but also on Community Safety and Crime Prevention Month. So once again, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Kindness is one of the most undervalued traits out there. Thanks so much for having me, Shelby.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery and Furniture House, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm proud to introduce author J.P. McLean to the program. Thank you so much for joining us here today on Primetime Local News.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
So, why exactly did you decide to write your book, Ghostmark?
Ghostmark is the second in the Dark Dreams series of books, and it came naturally after book one. I actually had in mind a third book in the series, which I've already started writing. So Ghostmark continues the tale of Jane Walker, and it's set here on the West Coast. And Jane Walker is a character who was born with a string of blood red birthmarks that snake around her body. And she learns in book one that these birthmarks are in fact ritualized marks that were given to her in a ritual, an Inca ritual, and they protect her from a homicidal maniac. But in book one, during one of her debilitating dreams that she suffers from, she accidentally changed history and ruined a handful of lives of the people who are very close to her. So in book two, which is Ghostmark, she has the opportunity to fix that mistake that she made. But she has to make the decision, is it worth it to change history again and maybe come up with a completely different set of outcomes, or does she just go for it?
What do you think your book brings to its genre that makes it stand out?
Being set on the West Coast is one that makes it stand apart. And I don't read a lot about ritualized marks on people and how they are impacted by those marks. So those are two things that I think are unique to this story.
What would you like readers to know going into your book?
I want them to know they're going to be given a space to escape from whatever it is that's bugging them that day. That's the joy of reading to me, is just being able to escape the stuff that's happening in your everyday life. And these are terrific escapes. They're fast-paced, they're thriller-esque with that little bit of paranormal, supernatural thrown in just to keep you on the edge of your seat.
Is there an overall message to your book that you hope readers who read it take away?
Yes, as a matter of fact, there is. And it wasn't something that came to me right away, but as I started writing it, I realized that there was a message there. And that is the whole idea that you don't judge someone by what they look like. And you don't judge someone by what they necessarily do for a living, because people do what they need to do for a living, and there's nothing they can do about whatever marks they might have. And the clothing that people wear is often not indicative of who they are as a person.
So what has the reader response been like so far to Ghostmark and the first book in the series?
It's been fantastic. As a matter of fact, the first book in the series has won several awards, and I'm very, very proud of those awards that it's won. The Global Book Award, it came in as a finalist on the Eric Hoffer Award, and went over in Britain called the Wishing Shelf Book Award. So it's been received very well. The reviews for it are quite good, and I'm very, very proud of it. The second book is already in the running for one award, and it has already received Literary Gold Titan, so I'm very pleased with the books, and I think the reviewers are too.
The storyline to your book sounds so interesting. What exactly was the initial inspiration for your book?
The seed of inspiration was the opening scene in an NBC TV show called Blind Spots, starring Jamie Alexander. And it was a couple of years ago now, but that opening scene showed a cleared Times Square in the middle of the night. There was a duffel bag dropped in the square, and a bomb tech was approaching this duffel bag with a Geiger counter, and he sees the zipper starting to unzip from the inside, and out pops this woman who is tattooed from the neck down. She doesn't know how she got the ink, why, who she is, or anything about her. And I thought it would be really interesting to explore how somebody lives with marks that weren't of their choosing. So that's how it started. And then I developed it from there, throwing in some Inca ritual just to keep it really interesting and different from what I've been reading out there.
I'd like to thank you again so much for joining us here today.
Thank you, Sarah.
Ending off with another quick look at your 7-day forecast. Get ready. We will be seeing a beautiful couple days next coming up for Tuesday, Wednesday. Cooling down Thursday and Friday, although we will be seeing a lot more sun this week into the weekend. We will be cooling down on Saturday, but already into next week, we will be looking at -5 Sunday and even seeing -6 next Monday. And don't worry, we will be seeing a lot more sun coming up.
And that's some good news. Thank you so much for that, Shelby. And thank you all for joining us for Primetime Local News. We'll see you again tomorrow.